Good morning, I'm Talitha. I'm the Conservation Manager at the Turtle Conservation Center here at the Two Oceans Aquarium Foundation. And as you can see, it's a nice drizzly day today. And we're here in May 2025, remembering a time a year ago when things were a little bit more chaotic. In April last year, a big storm coincided with where the turtles were in the current. And in the course of a week, we saw 400 turtles washing up on our beaches, being stranded and rescued and brought to our facility. Over the course of the season, our number rose to 606, a record for our facility. And everything about how we operated had to change.
We refer to last year's season, 2024, as Turtlegeddon.
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 And this was a huge time for us. It was full of challenges, it was full of camaraderie, and now reflecting back on it, the thing that I take as being one of the most special of that time of chaos is the fact that our community grew. Our community came together. We had incredible volunteers, we had incredible funders and sponsors, we had an incredible core team and just staff and families and everyone in Cape Town who donated and supported and helped us through a time that we were a little bit unprepared for. Thankfully, we're now past that, and the majority of those turtles were able to be released back into their ocean, which is a huge triumph of all of ours, a joint collaborative effort and success. And this season is a little bit slower. We've had about 45 little turtles so far. And so it's nice to take a moment to pause, to think about last season and how chaotic it was, and to be grateful for the opportunity it provided to us, the opportunity to become better at what we do, the opportunity to care for more turtles, and the opportunity to grow our community and our network. And so it's really nice, even though looking back and thinking of that time is stressful. I'm proud to say that when we're faced with a situation like that in the future, we will be very prepared and capable of handling it. So yes, this little walk down memory lane is a great opportunity.
Everybody, my name is Aisha Cornelius. I am the sea turtle aquarist, one of the sea turtle aquarists for the turtle team. Today we are weighing our hatchlings. This is number little 33 over here. So every week we do the weights and morphometrics, and we'll do a little health round as well. So these little guys, they hatch along the east coast. Our leatherbacks and our loggerheads, they nest over there. And as soon as these guys hatch in around December time, they make it to the water and they follow your warm Agulhas current. But because they're so tiny, when they get washed up and they get stuck in, as soon as they come to Cape Point, the water starts getting colder and there are eddies in the water and it pushes them all around the show. So when these guys, they get trapped in your cold Benguela current, then they suffer from cold shock. And that is why we know that every single year we'll have a stranding season because of the change in currents. And as soon as they follow in that warm current, they get spit out on all the different sides of our coastline. And that is where Tracy, our rescue coordinator, comes in, and she'll organize a turtle taxi from wherever these guys are found, and she'll get them a lift to us.
Hi everyone, I'm Tracy and I'm the rescue coordinator for the Turtle Conservation Center. My job is to help people when they find a turtle and then to rescue it safely off the beach and get it through to the hospital at the Turtle Conservation Center. There's a whole process that goes along with that, and on a normal year it's quite a calm process that happens over a period of months. Last year wasn't a calm process and a lot happened very, very quickly. To put it into context, the Western Cape, which is the area that we cover, has a coastline of about 1,000 kilometers, and probably about 600 kilometers of that is prone to hatchling strandings. We have a couple of hotspots along those areas. And last year, in a normal area where we might get 30 through a season in a hotspot area, we were getting 30 plus in a day. So it was pretty crazy. Our network stretches across the whole of the Western Cape. It started about 8 years ago with about 10 organizations. It's grown now to over 2,000 people, and we have hotspot places in every single little town across the Western Cape, from Nature's Valley all the way up the West Coast. And those people all come together during rescue season on a good year. And last year, thankfully, everybody rallied together, and they go out, they walk the beach, rain or shine, they look for the hatchlings that are stranding, they give us a ring on our hotline number, and then we guide them step by step from there and eventually get them through to the hospital.
Sange, and I am a sea turtle aquarist at the Two Oceans Aquarium. So I'm going to tell you about the initial steps of when we have a turtle that arrived, that was rescued from the beach, and it arrives and it gets to us. So when it arrives, it comes in this box. So all our rescue networks, we make sure we provide these boxes. So in the box, they would lay up a small towel in there to keep them warm. And then they would be on the transit coming here, and then we get them in this box. So from the arrival, we take them up into quarantine. This is the place that we are now. That's the quarantine. So they come in here. Once arrival, so this is a critical step in them. That time they are very weak, they're very cold, so we need to make sure, firstly, when we hear like we are having a turtle that is arriving in our care, we make sure we have RO water, which is reverse osmosis water, that we put it down into room temperature. So this, we use it for freshwater bath. So when they come in, they are very dehydrated as well. So it's very good to hydrate them. So when we put them, the water must sit below their nares, and they will be able to drink and get the water to absorb in their bodies as well. So we also have this. This is our sea turtle arrival kit. So everything that we need, we store it in here, so that we make sure like every time they come in, we are ready. So we'll have that. And these are actually tags. We number them, so we give them numbers, like this one there. For instance, let's say number 21 just arrived, so I make sure like everything is in order, waiting for them. So when they come in, I have a stranding sheet. We need this. This is a very important data when they come in. So we write the date, the rehab ID number. So this is it. So this year is 2025. So it will be 2025 number 21 for the year. And then we'll specify what species is it. Is it a loggerhead? Is it a leatherback? And then we'll tick there, and then we'll give the stranding details, the town where they're coming from, which is also highly important. And most things that we do, so we're trying to not stress them too much when they arrive. We just triage quickly, and then they go into their pools for the night. So when they come in, we make sure we measure them. So my measuring stuff is in a sterilizing water container. So it is also important, especially if I'm receiving multiple turtles in a day. So I make sure that I have this container to sterilize in between when I'm handling them. So I would also have my weighing scale over here. So the weighing scale is to record their weight as they arrive.
And then we go on to his morphometrics. The morphometrics is just measurements. So once a week we'll do this for all of them just to see that they are growing steadily. He's currently 6.4. This is your curved carapace width. So we do 4 measurements for each of them. This is 6.8. And then we use our calipers, some people call it verniers, and we do the straight carapace width. And 5.7. And then we put it in this little container to disinfect between each turtle. Then we do a house round. So I'll check that his eyes and his nails are clear, which is looking good on this guy. We check his overall body condition. So he looks he looks good. Usually for a body condition that's more poor or we're concerned of, our turtles would be a little thin over here and they'll have a little indentation and you can see they're quite thin. But this guy's looking good. Then we check behind all of the flippers for calcification. Calcification is almost like this build-up of calcium that gets in between the crevices. It doesn't really do anything for them, but we like to remove it. So this guy is looking nice and clear. He's got no calcification. And then we have to feel them. And we do this to feel shell hardness. So generally when the turtles hatch, their shells are quite soft for them to come out of the shell. It's quite soft, and then that's also what makes them quite susceptible to predators, crabs, birds, especially in the eastern coast. There's some wild dogs and things on the beaches that these guys gets predated by. But he's looking good. His shells are medium. The sun is also very good for them. So we find that when our turtles come in, we'll keep them in quarantine, and they'll be there for like 2 weeks minimum. And as soon as they start coming outside, they get more access to the UV. And the UV is very good for them because it hardens the shell. Their shells are made up of keratin. So that's when they get nice and harder for us. And then before release, they have to have hard shells, off medication for a while, picking up weight. So that's why we do these checks throughout the rehabilitation to see when they started when this increase happened.
Hi everyone, my name is Rizan and I am a sea turtle aquarist at the Turtle Conservation Center. You caught me at a good time because I'm actually preparing some breakfast for our large turtles. You can see on the menu today we've got some white mussel. We actually cleaned it nicely for them. We cut off the yucky manky parts, which are the gut, because our turtles deserve the best. And then we've also got some hake on the menu as well. So I'd actually like to explain how Turtlegeddon was different from this year. We refer to last year's season 2024 as Turtlegeddon because we are still in a state of shock, I'd say. Last year we received over 600 hatchlings that came through our doors, and this is only hatchlings excluding the larger turtles that we had to provide care for. And we usually only receive max 75 to 100 turtles a year. Currently for this year it's May and we are on number 46 that came through our doors. So you can see a very skewed ratio compared to last year. And the reason why we received such a high dense number of hatchlings last year is mainly because of the storms along our coast. Climate change is causing for a lot of unpredictability in our weather, so it's hard to actually keep track of the changes in our weather and how to actually respond to that as well. And with severe storms that happened along our coastline during a particular period of last year, it coincided with the hatchling season.
So crazy because Turtlegeddon started on the weekend that I worked. I think it was the 7th to the 8th of April. And Tracy is like, guys, there's hectic storms happening this weekend. Expect some babies. And some is like 5, maximum 8. And then she tells me, and she's like, okay, prep some tanks. And I prepped in tanks for everybody. And by the end of the night, Trace is like, we have 20 coming in. We didn't have enough ice cream tubs. We didn't have enough space in quarantine. And we were like, what the heck is happening? So that was the start of Turtlegeddon.
I've never seen so much hatchlings in my entire life at one time. Like they would arrive as hundreds, as 200, you know. And we had to come in anytime like you find a break because I was working in front of house earlier. So when I'm free, like during your lunchtime, you also try to ask your supervisor, can I go out? Because there were a lot.
My name is Siolise, and I am a sea turtle aquarist for the Two Oceans Aquarium Foundation. Interestingly, I was also starting my role as a sea turtle aquarist around that time, which we sometimes jokingly say that it's Turtlegeddon. So that's exactly when I was starting my job. I couldn't even like get like the normal training, you know. But I just sort of like started the training in Turtlegeddon, which I kind of feel like it really equipped me to deal with my responsibilities, even if I'm under pressure, because we had a lot of turtles that we had to care for.
During last year, I actually booked a few days in Strathspey and went and walked the beach myself together with the local community who are just amazing. We have people who homeschool their kids, and every morning part of their class, they actually go for a walk on the beach, and during that time they actually look for turtles. And talking to everybody and putting it together, the experience of doing that is quite incredible. It's very humbling, it's very rewarding, it's also very emotional. I certainly noticed when we were walking the beach that one of the ways of finding them is that these little guys, if they are lucky enough to have some energy left, they're actually trying to get back to the water. So you may see little tracks in the sand. That's mostly not the case. Usually they are exceptionally weak and they would just be lying there. They often don't even look like a turtle hatchling. They'll be covered in algae or covered in barnacles, so you really have to keep an eye open to look for them. Some of the people who do this often have really got it down to a fine art. They know exactly what they're looking for and do a fantastic job of rescuing these little guys.
Hi there, I'm Bernice van Heestien. I'm the sea turtle veterinarian here at the Two Oceans Aquarium Foundation. Every year we receive many little turtles, babies, post-hatchlings, just a couple of months old, from all across the coast of South Africa. They usually wash out after they get injured or they get washed out into the cold waters, and most of the time these little ones are thin, they're emaciated, they're weak, they're dehydrated, and they often come in with lots of injuries, little flipper bites, evidence of being predated on, and very often almost comatose. We had a very different season last year. Last year, with what we affectionately call Turtlegeddon, was a bumper season for us. We received, as you know, almost 600 little babies, or over 600 babies that season. What was very interesting was that the first few that we received, the first, I would say, 2-3 days worth of turtles, and they were a good 200 or so that arrived, seemed very different from the ones we normally got. A lot of these turtles were strong, they were healthy, they were actively fighting us and trying to bite us while we were trying to do their admission. A lot of them didn't have any injuries, they were a good weight, they weren't dehydrated. That was really interesting. The blood work we also did seemed very different from normal. Most of the time, the little turtles we received would be very low in their sugar levels in their body. Their hematocrit, which is their blood count, would also be very low. A lot of these little turtles from last year presented very differently. Their blood count was normal, or it was high compared to the previous years. Their sugar was normal, or it was high. Again, very different from the previous ones. For us, that really meant that it was evidence that these turtles had washed out because of the stormy ocean conditions that we had, not so much because they were debilitated, predated on, or just chronically weak from being in unfavorable environments. As the season progressed, however, we got to see more and more of the more normal-looking strandings, the ones that were weaker, smaller, more dehydrated, more sick, more injured, and we saw a little bit of all of it during the last season. But it was an interesting year for us. It was definitely out of the ordinary. It was different from the normal, and it was a very interesting seasonal occurrence that we saw last year.
While our rescue network was out there and facing the elements, here on site at the Two Oceans Aquarium, we were needing to respond to this increase in number and find solutions for the many turtles that we were receiving. Now, normally we have capacity for around 100-120 turtles on site, and very quickly the numbers were going into the hundreds. And our solution to this was multifaceted. The first, most immediate one was the use of ice cream tubs. We had turtles in ice cream tubs, and we were doing regular water changes to make sure their temperature was constant and their water was clean. But after that first week of strandings, our workshop team activated incredibly downstairs. We moved the boat out of the boat garage, and we converted the boat garage into a turtle rehab for 127 turtles. It was remarkable, and our workshop team worked tirelessly over that weekend to make it happen. And we're not just talking building tanks, we're talking more water movement, dividers, heating. It was really special. Aside from creating more capacity, and we created capacity for just over 300 turtles on site, we also started looking to our national collaborators. So Sambra up in KZN and Bayworld reached out, and they said, we're here to help you however you need. And so we were able to as well send turtles to Durban and to Quebec for continued rehab. What we were seeing were that quite a few of these turtles were washing up in really good, strong condition. They hadn't been floating for a long time. They'd merely been sidetracked by this big storm. And so with those turtles, we decided they would be the ones that we'd first send up to our partner facilities, to Sambra and to Bayworld, and that once they were stable, that they would be released back into the ocean quite quickly. And this was great because it was still early enough in the season that these turtles could join their cohorts and continue their journey at sea. But over the course of the season, we were able to release many of the turtles. Some of them we were able to release here off the Cape. Quite a few we flew to Durban for releases. And we didn't do one big release, we released continuously as we were able to over the course of the season. Now, a year later, we've got 4 little turtles that remain that were not ready to be released for various medical reasons. And so, yeah, we feel incredibly proud and grateful for the ability as a team that we had to respond to, care for, and release so many of our little babies.
So the actual rescue network operates on a WhatsApp system and a phone call system, and we have a dedicated phone number for that, which has been broadcast nationally, and that number is 083 300 1663. And people who find a turtle either phone the number or they WhatsApp the number, and then we get back to them immediately. And I will talk them through the process, which basically is actually very simple. First steps would be removing the turtle from harm. And this is after you've phoned the WhatsApp, the hotline number. Removing the turtle from harm. So if it's getting washed around in a rock pool or in the waves, tumbled in the waves, is to just very gently pick it up and remove it safely. Keep it out of water. Don't put it back in the ocean. They are very weak, and putting it back in the ocean could cause it to drown. So picking it up, putting it onto something soft and dry, and then putting it in, when you have the opportunity, putting it into a little container, whether it be a little ice cream container or one of our beautiful rescue boxes that we have. It can stay in that little box as long as it is kept dry on a dry towel and something soft. It can stay like that until help is received. We then have trained network points in every town with a first responder, and those people know exactly how to handle that turtle, what to do with it, if by chance the turtle is injured or there's something, exactly what needs to be done. While all this is going on, one of my jobs is also to activate the team here at the hospital, and they will be getting tanks ready, they'll be getting everything ready. And another part of the job is to activate transport. So we'll already be looking for somebody who might be traveling, getting them all geared up, getting the paperwork to them. So all these things will come together. The turtle will get into the transport and it'll get whizzed through to us, to the hospital.